a little daunting as well. I definitely felt like there was a responsibility to the fans and anyone that's watched this show before, and you know, it definitely wasn't lost on me that people cared about this world so much and these characters, and I think it just motivated me to make sure that I understood where this character was at coming into my journey and where he'd been and what his motivation was moving forward.
I guess bringing in a new White Wolf at this point in the season, a bold move and a tall order for Liam.
Of course, he wanted to honor the character that had already been set up because he knows that he's stepping into a role. But at the same time, he wanted to make sure that his performance was authentic, that it felt like him, that he wasn't playing and mimicking anything. And so
when Netflix dropped The Witcher 4 trailer, the reaction wasn't disappointment. It was a full-scale revolt, and Liam Hemsworth got hit the hardest. Within minutes, the internet lit up with memes and brutal comparisons that spread faster than the studio could respond. What should have been a milestone became a disaster. Fans immediately felt the soul of the series was gone. The tone looked off, and the energy that made the early seasons iconic seemed missing. Side-by-side edits only fueled the anger. What began as frustration quickly became a movement demanding change. Hollywood took notice as the numbers spiraled. The petition jumped past 2 million signatures, and every headline pointed the blame at Liam. Executives began questioning whether he was the right choice and whether Netflix had ignored the warning signs. As the backlash grew, a darker narrative formed. Industry insiders started suggesting that Liam's reputation was taking permanent damage and that the recast could mark the moment Hollywood turned away from him. The trailer wasn't just rejected. It became a call for him to never lead a major franchise again.
I never want to imitate anything that anyone else has ever done. I think there's obviously qualities about this character that are going to be similar, you know, but this is my interpretation of the character, and you know, and I'm aware of how much people care about this character in this world. So, you know, I just tried to do what I thought was most truthful.
Let me ask you guys something. Are you excited for Witcher Season 4?
Isn't it out right now on Netflix?
Just coming out, and the reviews have started to drop. So
because I looked on Rotten Tomatoes, and bear in mind, given the backlash, I would expect a little bit of review bombing. So people who haven't seen it but who hate the concept. Oh no, you're behind, Drinker.
Has it changed?
It's down to 17.
Netflix entered the year already weakened after heavy subscriber losses, but the second quarter pushed things into crisis. Over 1 million people canceled, and the charts kept dropping. What looked like a temporary setback now looked like a collapsing trend. Hollywood immediately paid attention. When a giant loses trust this fast, it usually points to creative mistakes. The Witcher recast became the center of that conversation, and Liam's name kept coming up as a symbol of misplaced confidence. The timing was impossible to ignore. As Netflix's stock continued to fall, studio partners quietly pulled back from promotional deals. A franchise once seen as reliable now looked unstable. The Witcher was supposed to be untouchable, yet the recast overshadowed everything. By the time the trailer backlash hit, the narrative had formed. Netflix had lost touch with its audience, and Liam became the face of the fallout. Hollywood used that moment to question whether he could really lead a major franchise under pressure.
Millions of people are canceling their Netflix subscriptions. Why Netflix stock is absolutely tanking right now. I mean, it is just collapsing totally in the red. And you can see that it is on a massive downward slope this month. It's cratering. Why is that happening?
Is season 4 for The Witcher not looking good so far when it comes to the reviews. When it comes to the critics, right now they're at 55%. But when it comes to the fans, 19% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What started as a sarcastic Reddit petition demanding Henry Cavill's return suddenly turned serious. Within days, the numbers exploded, and fans pushed it past 1 million signatures before Netflix understood what was happening. It became a united protest. Hollywood couldn't ignore it. Petitions rarely hit that level unless audiences feel betrayed. And here, the message was clear. Fans weren't asking for changes. They were rejecting Liam entirely and demanding the old lead return before the season even aired. Media outlets amplified the story, and the petition hit 2 million as boycott threats spread across social media. Edits, memes, and commentary made the movement impossible to dismiss. This wasn't noise. It was a coordinated rebellion. The petition soon became a global symbol of resistance. Hollywood read it as a warning that Liam wasn't just unpopular, he was a risk. A single casting choice had turned into a threat that studios no longer wanted to gamble on. The Witcher 4 trailer should have been Liam's redemption, but it became the clip used to tear him apart. Fans analyzed every shot and declared the tone wrong, the energy off, and the performance unconvincing. Suddenly, even casual viewers felt something was missing. Reaction channels made it worse by putting Henry and Liam side by side. Henry looked natural, Liam looked unsure. Those edits spread instantly and shaped public perception long before anyone saw the actual season. Comment sections filled with claims that the trailer looked like a fan film instead of a professional production. When viewers reference cosplay in a serious franchise, studios pay attention. Those impressions shape financial decisions fast. Within a day, the dislike ratio cratered and headlines labeled the trailer a disaster. Hollywood rarely forgets a failed first impression. Liam's debut as Geralt became one of the most damaging rollouts in recent streaming memory. Netflix's refusal to address the backlash made the situation spiral. Fans demanded answers, yet the studio stayed quiet. That silence created the impression that Netflix had no control over the narrative and no plan to defend its new lead. Leaked messages described emergency meetings and frantic attempts to understand why the reaction was this intense. Marketing teams debated disabling comments. Even employees liked anti-recast tweets, exposing internal chaos. Hollywood saw this as a major red flag. If the studio wouldn't stand by its actor during the worst moment of his rollout, that signaled doubt. Liam suddenly looked like someone Netflix didn't believe in, and that sentiment spread quickly. By the time Netflix tried subtle adjustments, the public had already formed its opinion. Studios began viewing Liam as the weak link in a failing production, and each hour of silence pushed him closer to unofficial cancellation. Behind the scenes, Liam dealt with the backlash in ways his team feared. Reports said he read comments constantly and watched reaction videos that mocked his acting, his look, and even his voice. It wasn't criticism, it was humiliation. His PR team reached out to creators, but most refused. Fans had already chosen a side, and any video supporting Liam faced instant hate. That pattern made studios nervous, because hiring him meant importing a backlash into future releases. Liam canceled interviews and avoided appearances to escape questions about Henry Cavill. But stepping back only created more distance between him and the audience. Hollywood took it as a sign that he couldn't handle the pressure of a lead role. Friends said he feared this would define his entire career. He wanted the role to elevate him, yet it was doing the opposite. As the negativity grew, he faced the possibility that this backlash would stay with him longer than the show itself. Netflix's emergency fixes revealed how desperate the situation had become. Executives discussed re-editing scenes, adjusting visuals, and even using AI to change Liam's voice. These ideas only highlighted how little faith they had in the current version. Marketing pushed a behind-the-scenes featurette to make Liam seem more genuine. Hollywood saw it as a bandage on a much deeper wound. When a studio is forced to defend an actor before release, confidence disappears. Industry insiders began pointing out that Netflix wouldn't be scrambling like this if they believed the casting would work. Desperation never inspires trust. Liam became the symbol of a franchise in distress. By the time these changes reached viewers, the audience had already decided. Production tricks couldn't fix a loyalty problem. Hollywood realized Liam wasn't seen as a strong lead. He was seen as the mistake Netflix now regretted. The fallout didn't stay inside Netflix. Studios across Hollywood watched the explosion of fan anger and panicked at how quickly the community united against the recast. Executives realized that if one casting misstep could ignite a movement this massive, then no franchise was safe. They began reevaluating every upcoming project tied to established fandoms, hoping to avoid a similar revolt before it even started. Actor lists were quietly reconsidered as studios took a closer look at the names attached to potential backlash. Any actor associated with large-scale controversy was flagged as risky, and Liam's name came with the loudest warning of all. Casting him no longer meant securing a recognizable face. It meant dragging The Witcher for disaster into an entirely new production and risking the same hostile reception from day one. Brand partnerships and corporate collaborations slowed too. Companies that once showed interest backed away to avoid attaching their products to a narrative dominated by negativity. Liam, who at one point seemed on track for a strong return to the spotlight, was now viewed as someone who could unintentionally tank momentum and derail marketing campaigns that required audience goodwill. Hollywood eventually labeled this chain reaction the Witcher effect, a reminder that modern fandoms shape outcomes more powerfully than traditional marketing. It showed how one misaligned decision can spiral until it affects careers far beyond the original project. and Liam became the most visible example of how quickly public perception can flip and how difficult it is to rebuild once a fanbase rejects you at this scale. When rumors surfaced that Netflix might use a multiverse twist to bring Henry Cavill back, the internet exploded again. Concept art showing 2 Geralts and an IMDb listing under Project Wolf fueled the fire. Whether real or fake didn't matter. Fans cared more about Henry returning than Liam succeeding. Engagement climbed higher than anything Netflix had produced since Henry's seasons, proving where loyalty still lived. As these rumors grew, Liam's image took another hit. He was no longer viewed as the future of the franchise. He was seen as a placeholder waiting to be removed the moment Netflix found a way. Hollywood read this shift clearly. If the audience demanded Henry and celebrated rumors of his return, then Liam's credibility was already gone. No studio wants an actor fans hope gets replaced. Tension peaked when Liam reportedly requested reassurance from Netflix that he wouldn't be replaced, but the studio offered nothing. Their silence left him exposed and strengthened the belief that his position wasn't secure. Casting directors took note. Roles that once seemed open to him were removed quietly as producers prioritized stability. Liam became labeled high-risk talent, someone who might drag controversy into any project. Avoiding him became the safer option. Meetings were postponed, offers delayed, and his presence created hesitation instead of excitement. Hollywood doesn't announce blacklists. It simply stops calling. By the time talk shifted fully toward Henry Cavill's possible return, Liam's grip on the franchise and his career momentum had weakened. Fear of fan revolt pushed him closer to an unofficial blacklist few actors recover from. Liam entered The Witcher hoping to redefine his career. Instead, he faced one of the strongest fan revolts a recast has ever triggered. The petition, the edits, and the non-stop comparisons shaped Hollywood's view of him faster than any performance could. Henry Cavill's legacy made everything harder. Fans refused to move on, and that loyalty overshadowed every effort to support Liam. With rumors of Henry's return spreading, studios grew wary of backing someone audiences didn't accept. Now, Hollywood waits. Some believe Liam can rebuild with time. Others think The Witcher 4 backlash has reshaped his career permanently. One role doesn't always define a future, but a global revolt can. As the release approaches, one question remains. Will Hollywood give Liam Hemsworth a second chance? Or will The Witcher 4 backlash be the moment that marks the end of his leading man chapter?